Woo! What's up, everybody? I don't know. They're just telling me it's like snowing and stuff up there in Montana back home. You guys are pussies. Just kidding. Anyway, Tyler Cornett and I are going at it and giving the old cold weather test to the TNTs. I've got a medium heel rope TNT. Tyler's going to be using an extra soft. We're going to run us about 9 or 10 or as many as we can handle. Got my horse is shivering right here, so I better get to warming him up. Well, we got by our first one, so it's cold out, even the chute's open. So, Tyler, we've got about 8 more steers. We're going to see what happens. This red steer supposedly has never been missed, so we'll see what happens. Second one. Tyler would like to tell you about that one.
Well, there, about 3 swings into it, finally got a little momentum on it. But, well, you see about halfway down the pin there, got my rope going. Wind's probably about 18 knots here. Nice 36 degrees. I don't know what that makes a wind chill, but cold. It's Bridgeport, Texas. A little better than Greenville, but damn sure colder, boys. Oh man, that's how hitters talk, I guess.
Well, that was ridiculous right there. So that steer usually kind of runs around the corner. So I'm thinking, well, I'm really going to ride up around him and do a pickoff shot or something. And he just hopped out of there, and I was a little bit ahead of him, so I floated my rope. Instead of just staying right with him, putting my rope kind of down behind him and roping him, I tried to put it out and around the feet, which was pretty ridiculous. And as you can see, it didn't work very good. So we're just going to not do that anymore, okay? Is that fine with you?
Tyler says it's don't calculate them before you're up.
Here it is. That's why he's quarterback. Hey, 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 hey! Man, what'd that feel like to you?
That most controlled run that we had the whole time. I feel like I got a good start. Horse scored good. Run to my spot, maybe a coil closer than I wanted to be. He was kind of ticking to the right. Had gained a little on him right there. Got him. Felt like I shaped him pretty well for Drew. Stayed out on the end of the rope. Drew rode good position. I feel like from the time I went to the horn and shaped that steer, I knew that he had good timing. It was perfect right there that he could heel him as fast as he wanted to.
Yeah, that steer was good. I'm kind of getting myself out of time, swinging my rope a little too fast. Almost a little bit ahead of the run, and I'm having to slow off and kind of get him going away instead of being able to stay down with my horse. So on these next 3, I'm going to work on picking up better timing in the corner and ride my horse forward instead of getting him up there and then getting him on the go away like I did on that one. So this next steer is really tricky. You get two good jumps on this steer, and that's it. So I've got to be up there and be ready for him on this one. So, but I've still got to keep my horse, really keep driving my horse. So, let's see what happens.
I feel like right there on that one, my game plan was to see she pointed the shoulder and come right behind him, right there at the point. Kind of had her head turned whenever I left the box, and I was sitting, my horse was flat and staying good, and I seen about 7th ribs, you can see running to the back corner there. I was probably at least 1.5 feet off the barrier. The only reason that run ever worked is because my horse let me catch up. I mean, if this horse wasn't as fast as he was, I'd never got that shot right there. I still threw about a half a coil, but I should have never made this horse have to run that hard. That was my fault there, and I feel I shaped him up okay, but Drew got up around him really fast, and he salvaged that run better than either one of us.
No, I mean, that stuff happens. You know, you have a game plan, just like you said with me on my run. You have a game plan every once in a while it doesn't work the way you think it's going to. So, you know, but that's going to happen in a World Series, at a U.S. Open, at an Open Open, at the American Qualifier, whatever. It's going to happen. So, you know, guys got to go out and just kind of rope what you got, stay in there. That's what we're trying to do here. You know, it's just, we're not trying to make 5-second runs. We're trying to make good, clean catching runs. He's working on his horse's handles. I'm working on my position and catching 2 feet every single time. So that's the overall game plan. The reason we're talking about it is just so we can keep critiquing and making ourselves better every single run. So, all right, brother.
Well, we started that run off a lot better there. Got a lot better start at him. Seen what I wanted to see. Feel like I was right on the barrier. Rode it pretty well. Steer kind of come into me, and what I've been working on a lot is keeping my swing out to the right and my tip out over that right horn where I can cover both the horns. I used to really crack it over to the left and really point for the buckle. Now I've got my swing really wide, and right there, if you notice, I have my horse pointed where I wanted to catch that steer about third of the way down the pin. Well, it kind of changed. When she seen Drew out there, she kind of jumped and hopped to me right in the position I wanted to be in. And she come right, not dead in front of me, but she tipped over there with her left horn. I couldn't see it. Whenever you keep your swing out there to the right like that, over that right horn, it gives you that much more area to cover. And right there, if you go back and look at the video, I feel like I still covered the horns well and cracked it on the horns, even though she come into me.
Now it looked good on a handle perspective right there. That steer did step to him. We work a lot on aiming out of the box where we're going to catch out there. Learned that from Chad Masters a few years ago. You know where your steers are. Aim your horse to where you're going to catch them in the pin. That steer happened to step to Tyler a little bit earlier than he thought, so we kind of had to make that correction. That horse will move over really good. And one thing that Tyler's really doing, and it was, as you can see, this guy heads good. Heads really good. And everybody wants to get fast from not so much just roping, but from the time they get to the saddle horn to getting out of the hole. And it gets too fast where we'll start washing steers out. Now these steers have slowed down considerably since we first got them, but what was going on, he was getting fast, and every time those steers were kind of kicking a little bit or washing out a little bit. Now what he's doing, he's snapping it on and he's going down the pin. He reads him where he goes down the pin, enough jumps to get that steer's head, get him in the left lead, and then come out of there. And all it does for me to like right there, I come into the corner not planning on roping right there. But if I come into the corner and he cleans up in a jump, man, I'm going to take it, and he did, and allows me to take that fast throw. So I don't have to wait for him to wash out and come back 2 or 3 jumps later. He hits and he's ready to rope. So that's man, that slowing down out there, you feel like it takes a lot of time, don't you? I mean, it feels longer.
It does. It feels a tick longer down the pin, but what I've noticed is I go a quarter of a stride further down the pin, gives that steer time to get a hold of his head. Whenever you get a hold of his head, it gathers himself up. Therefore, whenever he hits and hops away, he's healable. Instead of whenever you get it on and go to the wood and not necessarily duck, but just get a big horse that's got a big move, you don't keep him stood up. When it goes on that steer's head, that steer don't have a chance to get his legs under him and get gathered back up to take a clean hop. He's going to have to get his legs under him in that first hop and then clean up on the second or third one, which therefore that's going to add a 1.5 seconds. So why not go down the pin and add a 1/3 of a second and let him clean up where your guy can heal him a 1.5 seconds faster.
That's good math right there. He's a rocket surgeon, that guy.
High teamer.
Okay, so that you guys are getting them all in order, so there's editing in between, but we're not editing in your runs. So yes, I've been the weak link so far in this practice, but man, that steer kind of slowed up into you a little bit, maybe, huh? And that's the first steer we're gonna rope right here too, because we're not quitting on a miss. So
no, and he did. He kind of come into me a little. I had to check off my horse. I got my horse a little too quick. Is there another reason why we're running another one? I feel like I didn't ride far enough down the pin. He shaped up fast, but that was only because that steer knows the deal and knows the drill. I feel like I could have took him another, just a tick further, just not to shape up faster, but to be just a little more controlled. Yeah, we're gonna ride horses, not chairs. Wow. Okay.
I'm glad you got bucked out of the chair. At least we're even.
That's what I get for trying to sit on the job.
How's your hip?
Well,
how's your hip, Dip?
It's not as bad as a guy that's 5'9" and 290, so I'm good. I feel good. I hit the concrete. It was a little harder than your fall, but I feel like
you're all right.
Yeah, we're gonna battle back.
All right. Oh boy.
Well,
wow.
Guys, to review the practice, man, what did we run? We run about 9, maybe 10 at the
No, well, we yeah, let's say, I think we ran,
I think we ran
9
video
exactly.
proof,
however many we run, 9 or 10.
Okay, okay. So, one of them, I feel like I missed the start.
The red and white steer?
The red and white steer, I did.
Big
I missed
time.
the start.
Yeah.
One of them, the last one, the first one we called a high teamer. I got a little quick. You know, I don't feel like maybe you could see it in the results of the run or anything like that, but me personally, I felt like my horse was too quick. I didn't stay down riding long enough. And on the flip side of that, I feel like we've run that same steer right back in there very next run. She got to the front of the herd and same situation. And I feel like that run, we kind of knew what she was going to do to our advantage. But she lets up a little right there, comes into me a little. And the thing about her is when you get a hold of her head, she'll shoot that gap pretty hard. It makes it pretty hard for Drew to get up and around her. And I stayed down riding with her, kind of broke her back over herself a little bit to make her kick her butt a little, where she would gather up and open up, where he could get them on his steady hops instead of those long leaping, lunging hops, and he capitalized well on that one.
Well, there's a big difference, and a lot of people, like when you'll go to somebody's house and you'll rope steers that haven't been heeled very much, and you know they run hard and they've been headed a bunch, but they haven't been heeled. And that's actually why we got these steers, because a buddy of ours was like, hey, these steers run hard, but they haven't been heeled. They've been roped a bunch, but they haven't been caught very much. So he brought this pen of steers over to us. And so what that steer does more than any steer in the pen is when that head rope goes on, you've got to kick extra hard, because she's not going to hit and then give you those 2 big jumps. She's going to kind of roll around there and then really gather her feet and run up there. And I was telling Tyler on the one that I reached at the run before our last one, I rolled down, I roped 2 feet, but I told Tyler, I said, man, it's hard for me to get time with her, because it's just like, instead of going boom, boom, and being ahead in a nice big delivery, it's boom, 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 throw. And that's what she did, and I just got out of time and missed my slack right there, and roped 2 feet, but couldn't, you know, in 2 jumps she was out of it, so.
Most definitely, and that has a lot in part to do to me getting my horse too fast. Especially now on a steer that would have stayed hooked straight and come back over herself, probably would have been just fine, because I don't feel like I ducked.
Our horsepower that was a good transition right there.
Most definitely.
You know, so with that being said, you need to think about your horses when you're doing this. Like, one thing about what we did tonight that was off camera is those were our 2 best horses tonight. That's as good as we've got. That yellow horse is mine that he's riding. I'm riding his heel horse. And we feel like we've got 2 of the best horses probably that we've ever ridden. I know that his heel horse is one of the best I've ever ridden, and that yellow horse I think is the best head horse either one of us have ever ridden. So, man, it's cold out, so it's all about warming up and getting those muscles loose, and your horses are really important. You think about the muscle mass that we have, we're about 1/16 of one of these horses, so We really warmed our horses up good. That gets your blood going. We get those horses loosened up. And then, like before heading, Tyler was over there stretching. He was stretching his groin. He was stretching his arms. I was over there really working my arms and my shoulder, my hips tight from hitting the ground a couple times, a couple days ago. So all the scratches on my face are from. And all that stuff's important. We're two guys that are not going to the finals. We're two guys that, you know, we've set a goal that we want to win 50, 80,000 next year at the World Series or Opens, the U.S. Opens. That's our goal. That is an achievable goal. And so everything we're doing is for that. That's why we're out here roping and it's flipping 30 degrees out. And, you know, it's dark out now. We just quit roping. We just unsaddled since our last run. That's it. So everything's about consistency. What Tyler's doing is trying to be consistent on the handles so that I can get consistent throws.
Most definitely.
That's all we're trying to do.
And my biggest goal from day to day is 100% catching. I feel at my level I should be able to catch every single steer, whether it be preferably not around the neck, but I would prefer to catch every steer 100% around the horns. And not only catching's the easiest part of heading, but I feel like setting the run up for it to be as fast as possible for your heeler to catch is my main goal. It's something I've worked on in the past, but struggled with a lot at the jackpots, and at times, like, you know, not necessarily high teamer, but short rounds, I try to make things a lot faster, and when it doesn't need to be, and you know, when the theory slow is fast is so true, you know, and when you slow down and set it up and take those 100% shots and make it where your partner can take a 100% shot, it takes all the guesswork out of it, and I guarantee you your chance of success doubles.
Yeah.
And that's what I work from the dummy all the way up, you know. And the thing a lot of people don't ever practice is they'll back in the box and just run steers. And to me, if you don't practice with a purpose, you're never going to get any better. You have to set a goal, and even if it's I run 10 steers and catch 6 of them, whatever your goal is, you got to achieve your goal. You're never going to get to a higher level.
But explain for the last 6 months what we've been doing right here.
Oh, well, see,
we've been for 6 months before we ever had this place. We've been setting you up, changing your head and style.
Well, okay, let's say end of May, Drew and I started living with him again, and we set a deal. And both of us, we really didn't have anywhere to go rope every single day. We didn't have a roping pin at the house, so we had the bones in the backyard. And I told Drew, I want to head. You know, I've been healing for the last 5 years through college and high school and everything, and I feel like I've not tapped out on my healing, but I just don't crave it like I do the heading anymore.
And I said I wanted to head too, but he's bigger than me, so he won that battle, so I had to start healing again. So
we wrestled it out, but yeah, we won't talk about that. And so what he suggests is, man, you know, let's rope the dummy. You know what we can use, rope steers when we can, and I feel like he's a good enough header that he critiqued my heading. I've talked to a lot of guys that I'm good friends with and learned different things about my horses, about my swing, my roping, and I tell you, and this just happened in the last 2 weeks. I changed my swing totally, swinging to the right. Now Drew and I used to every day, in which I still rope it religiously every day, but every day he and I together would rope this dummy 100 times in a row.
Yeah.
Like catch it,
yeah.
Not throw at it.
Now, like if you missed,
you'd
start over.
Yeah, you'd start over, and you would run it until you caught 100.
Yeah.
Whether your arms were hurting, you were sweating. I mean, remind you, this is back in May.
It was hot,
and we did this through the whole summer.
Yeah, there'd be times we'd get to, you know, one of us, like, we'd be bragging, like, go 3 days in a row without missing one, which happened a few times. You know, so you wrote 3, maybe 400. I don't know if either of us got to 500, but we'd get to 300 or 400 and get kind of cocky, and then we'd be that day being like, oh, I caught 300 in a row, and you walk up there on 67 and split the horns.
Exactly.
And so you got to start back over at 0, and you're like, what it does is a combination of things. When you rope the dummy that many times, it makes you stay hooked. Not with your roping, with your mind. It makes you stay hooked, because you get thinking, after you rope 50 in a row, a lot of people after you rope 10, you're going, ah man, I'm thinking about work tomorrow, I'm thinking about, oh, what's her name, blah, blah, blah. And then you go miss one, and if you make yourself do it, and rope those 100 in a row. We rope, that C4 has got thousands.
We have a C4 that literally is burnt up and frayed and never touched a steer's head.
No, I bet that sucker between the two of us 10,000 times.
Easy.
At least.
It is smooth, burnt up where you can't feed it, and never touch a steer.
Never touched a steer. We use that C4 so much. I mean, it was like, it was proof that C4 works in the heat, that's for sure.
And the thing about it is not, I understand not everybody has an outlet like Drew to go to that is a higher level header that helps you and critiques your things. But the thing is, there's plenty of videos out there, as I feel like these could help a lot of people. But the thing is, you have to rope the dummy with a purpose. It starts from the ground up. If you can't do it on the ground, you dang sure don't have any business doing it running down the pin at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. So how this all, we're kind of getting long-winded just because that's the way Tyler and I are. And usually he just talks a lot while we're watching TV. Like, he's really quiet. Yeah. But then when you turn the TV on, it never shuts up.
Well, see, the thing is, what's going to happen there?
Or when I'm talking, he likes to talk.
He's gonna try to do this announcing thing as a living, but that's not going to work. They're already calling me, trying to give his jobs to me and stuff like that. And I just need to make sure that he hears the presence of my voice. So at times he can refer back to that and be a better announcer himself. Yeah,
you drive me to be a better announcer. You give a guy one job one time, and next thing you know, he's Bob freaking Dong. Anyway, but what he's talking about is so true. So we started roping the dummy with purpose. I haven't done it for about 10 years. Since like 2000. Shoot, the last time I roped at the U.S. finals was 03, and I went from winning 80-some thousand a year every year in the U.S. Opens to 0 and just quitting. And now I got a kid back with me that's kind of where I was when I was 22, 23 years old, and it's lit a fire under my butt for sure. So we started, I told him, we're starting this deal just like we were when I was 14 years old and packing an old number 3 head card and wanted to get better. So we started from the ground, roping it, and then we didn't have a place to go rope. We found an old church, and we had the Heliomatic, so we started going down there. And we worked on our horses, and that's all we did. We roped steers maybe once, maybe twice a week, and when we got to do that, it was never 9 or 10 in a row.
And the second time of the week was at the jackpot.
Yeah, exactly. So we weren't getting good practice on live cattle, but we were getting great practice on the Heliomatic, on the bones. And then here about a month and a half ago, about right at 2 months ago, because rent's due, we got this place. We spent a few weeks getting it ready, got these steers, and we're coming out and we're running usually around 20 steers a night together at least. We're working during the day, so 20 steers a night, still a lot. We start off on the Heliomatic, on our good horses, get them working good. We've got some young horses we work, we get them warmed up, get off them, work the young horses. And then we run a few steers on our good horses, like we did tonight, about 9 or 10. Then we get back on our practice horses and finish, or vice versa. But everything we do is for a purpose. Everything we do. I'm roping the hawks every night, practicing, throwing, and I'm working on me personally on getting stronger. I've been working out a bunch and trying to get myself mentally better and feeling better in the saddle so I don't fall off 2 times in one night. But all of that stuff because we want to take it serious.